Welcome to Hollywood Buzz, your daily dose of celebrity news, Hollywood gossip, and entertainment updates. Let's dive into the buzz. Subscribe for exclusive Hollywood news. Welcome to Hollywood Buzz, your daily dose of celebrity news, Hollywood gossip, and entertainment updates. Let's dive into the buzz. Subscribe for exclusive Hollywood news. Stay in the know, stay in the buzz.
How to cut gems, a comprehensive guide for your YouTube video. In this document, we will explore the fascinating world of gem cutting, also known as lapidary. This guide is designed to help you create an engaging YouTube video that not only educates your audience about the techniques and tools involved in cutting gems, but also captivates them with the beauty and intricacies of the craft. From the basics of selecting the right materials to the detailed processes of shaping and polishing, this document will provide you with all the necessary information to produce a compelling video. Introduction to gem cutting. Gem cutting is an art form that transforms rough stones into beautiful, polished gems ready for jewelry or collection. Understanding the different types of gems, their properties, and the tools required for cutting is essential for anyone interested in this craft. Types of gems: precious gems, diamonds, rubies, sapphires, and emeralds. Semi-precious gems: amethyst, aquamarine, garnet, and opal. Organic gems: pearls, coral, and amber. Tools required: lapidary saw for cutting rough stones, grinder for shaping the gem, polisher for finishing the surface, dot sticks to hold the gem while cutting, safety gear, goggles, gloves, and a dust mask. Step-by-step process of cutting gems. 1. Selecting the rough gemstone. Choose a rough gemstone that has good color, clarity, and size. Inspect it for any flaws or inclusions that may affect the final product. 2. Cutting the gemstone. Initial cut. Use a lapidary saw to make the first cut, shaping the rough stone into a manageable piece. Shaping. Use a grinder to shape the stone into the desired form, whether it be a cabochon, faceted stone, or freeform. 3. Polishing the gemstone. Sanding. Start with a coarse grit and gradually move to finer grits to smooth the surface. Final polish. Use a polishing compound on a soft cloth or wheel to achieve a brilliant shine. 4. Inspecting the finished gem. Examine the finished product under good lighting to ensure that it meets your quality standards. Look for any scratches or imperfections that may need further polishing. Tips for creating your YouTube video. Visuals. Use close-up shots of the cutting process to highlight the details. Voiceover. Provide clear explanations of each step as you demonstrate the process. Engagement. Encourage viewers to ask questions or share their own experiences in the comments. Editing. Use engaging transitions and background music to keep the video lively. Conclusion. Creating a YouTube video on how to cut gems can be an exciting project that showcases your skills and passion for lapidary. By following the steps outlined in this guide, you can produce an informative and visually appealing video that will resonate with your audience. Remember to share your journey and encourage others to explore the art of gem cutting.
Have you ever looked at a sparkling gemstone and wondered how it got that way?
Well, I bet you have.
We're going to be diving deep today into the fascinating world of gem cutting.
That's right.
And we're going to be going beyond just like the simple how-tos, the step-by-step.
Right.
We're going to try to uncover some of that hidden world behind the sparkle and shine of all these stones.
That's right. We're going to be looking at a YouTube video, a guide to making a gem cutting YouTube video.
Yeah. And I think we're going to learn a lot more than just how to make a YouTube video.
I think so too. I think we're going to find that gem cutting really is a place where science and art meet.
Okay. I like that. Science and art meet.
Yeah.
So we've got this rough stone, right? It comes out of the earth.
Comes out of the earth.
And then how does it become that dazzling gem that we all,
right,
love and want to wear?
Well, we're talking about lapidary.
Lapidary.
Lapidary. It's the art of cutting and polishing gems. And it's amazing. Like you said, it can be something that just looks really dull and ordinary when it's in its rough form.
Yeah.
But through cutting and polishing, it can become this brilliant gem.
Now, this guide we're looking at talks about the different kinds of gems,
Right.
It talks about precious gems. So you've got your diamonds, rubies, sapphires, emeralds.
Yeah.
Those are kind of the ones we always hear about.
Right.
What makes those precious?
Well, it's a combination of things. It's rarity, it's durability, and just that exceptional brilliance, like diamonds, for instance. They're the hardest natural substance on Earth.
Right.
And so, they've been prized for centuries and centuries for that reason.
They sparkle like crazy.
They do.
Yeah.
And then you've got rubies with their like fiery red color. Ancient cultures, they thought that if you wore a ruby, it would make you invincible in battle.
Oh, wow. So like warriors would wear them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so we got precious gems. Then we have this whole other category called semi-precious.
Right.
What are those all about?
Semi-precious gems are still super beautiful, but maybe they're a little bit more abundant.
Right.
And maybe they're a little less durable, too.
Yeah.
But they're still very, very beautiful. So you've got amethyst, for instance, with those purple hues.
Yeah, I love amethyst.
Yeah.
It's a great color.
Yeah. And in ancient cultures, they associated it with, like, royalty and spirituality.
Oh, wow.
And then you've got opals, which, with their play of color,
They're so pretty.
It's mesmerizing.
Yeah.
They've often been associated with, good luck.
So you got precious and you got semi-precious. But then there's this whole other category called organic.
Right.
So we're talking about pearls and amber and things like that. I'm always kind of blown away that those can be gems.
Yeah.
Because, they're not rocks.
They're not.
How do you get a gem from something that's not even a rock?
That's a great question. And it has to do with how they're formed. So with organic gems, they're formed by natural biological processes instead of geological ones.
Okay.
So for instance, pearls are formed inside mollusks.
Right.
And it's actually a defense mechanism when an irritant gets inside the mollusk and it forms this pearl around it.
Interesting. So it's like the oyster's trying to protect itself and a beautiful pearl is the byproduct.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And then amber. Amber is fossilized tree resin.
Right.
And it's millions and millions of years old sometimes. And you can actually see insects and plants, from a bygone era.
Wow. Frozen in time.
Trapped inside.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's a little window into the past.
So how do we get from this raw material, whether it's a rock or, a piece of amber, to a finished gem?
Right.
What are the tools of the trade?
Well, like a chef needs their specialized equipment.
Right.
A lapidary has their own specialized set of tools. So
Got
you
it.
start with a lapidary saw, which makes the initial cuts to create kind of workable pieces from that rough stone.
Got it.
And then from there, we move to the grinder, which is where we start shaping the stone.
Okay.
And you use different grinders depending on how hard the gem is and what kind of cut you're going for.
So it's not just one grinder does it all.
No, not at all.
Okay, interesting.
And then from there, you move to the polisher, which is, that's where the magic really happens.
That's where it goes from, rough to brilliant.
Right?
So how does that work? What is the magic?
Well, it's really about transforming that rough, dull surface into something brilliant. Imagine you start with something that looks like a plain old rock, and through a series of steps, you make it reflect light with this incredible intensity.
Wow. So you're like awakening the fire within.
It's like awakening the fire within. Exactly. It's going to sparkle like 1,000 stars.
Now, the guide we're looking at also mentions something called a dop stick.
Yes.
What a funny name.
It is a funny name.
What is a dop stick?
It's very important, even though it has a funny name. It's how you hold that gem steady when you're cutting and polishing it. So it gives you that precision,
Okay.
And it really helps you avoid damaging that stone.
Now, the guide is also careful to mention, and rightly so,
Yeah.
that this is something that requires a lot of safety precautions.
Yes. Safety is paramount.
What are some of those?
You always want to have eye protection, gloves, and you really need a dust mask.
Because you're grinding away at rocks and stuff.
You're grinding away at rocks, exactly. So there's going to be particulate matter in the air.
Right.
So you want to protect yourself.
So let's talk about the process.
Okay.
We're going to walk through the steps of how a rough stone becomes a gemstone.
Okay.
The first step is selecting the rough gemstone.
Right.
What are some of the challenges you face when you're just looking at this rough stone?
Well, one of the biggest things is you're trying to assess the potential, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at it in its rough form and you're trying to see what could be. Right.
So, one of the first things you look at is the color.
Okay.
How vibrant is that color? Is it consistent throughout the stone?
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at the clarity. You're trying to see if there are any inclusions. Inclusions. These are like tiny little bubbles or cracks within the gem,
Okay.
and that can affect how brilliant it will be.
So are those bad?
Well, it depends. Sometimes it can actually add character to the gem,
Okay.
but sometimes it can detract from the brilliance.
Okay.
And then, of course, you have to consider the size.
Right.
The size of that rough stone will dictate what kind of cut you can do.
So you're kind of like a sculptor,
Yes.
looking at a block of marble, trying to figure out what's inside.
Exactly. Exactly. Seeing what's in there.
So then step 2 is the cutting.
Mhm.
And this is where I think the artistry comes in.
This is where it comes alive.
What happens in the cutting phase?
So first you do the initial cut with the lapidary saw,
Okay.
and that just creates a manageable piece.
From that rough stone. And then the next step is the shaping. And that's where the lapidary decides what form the gem will take.
So what are some of the choices?
Well, you can do a cabochon,
Cabochon. Okay.
which is smooth, rounded.
Yeah.
It's often used for opals, for instance, star sapphires. And then you can also do a faceted cut,
Okay.
which has multiple flat surfaces.
Okay.
And that's really designed to maximize the brilliance.
So like a diamond.
Like a diamond. Yeah.
So those facets are like mathematically designed to bounce the light around.
Right, exactly.
And sparkle like crazy.
Yes.
So you'd mentioned that faceting, people might say it's more about precision than artistry. What do you think about that?
Well, I can see that. You know, precision is definitely key.
Yeah.
But I think that it's also an art form.
Okay.
You know, the lapidary, they understand how each angle of the facet will interact with the light
Right.
to create, you know, these patterns of brilliance.
So they're like choreographing the light.
They're choreographing the light. Exactly.
I love that.
Yes.
Okay. So we've cut the stone, we've shaped it. Now we move to polishing.
Yes.
So what is the polishing stage?
Well, polishing involves a lot of different stages too.
Okay.
So, you know, first you've got to sand it,
Right.
and you use progressively finer grits of sandpaper.
Okay.
And you're basically smoothing out the surface.
Okay.
You know, getting rid of those little imperfections, creating this really even surface.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, you do the final polish.
Right.
And this often uses specialized compounds and tools,
Okay.
and it brings out that final shine. You go from this kind of dull, matte surface
Okay.
to this, you know, mirror-like finish.
So the final step in our process here is the inspection.
Right.
This is where you get to put your white gloves on
Right.
and really check out what you've done.
Exactly.
What are you looking for in that final inspection?
You want to be under some really good lighting for sure, so you can see any flaws that are still there.
Okay.
And you want to make sure that the polish is, you know, nice and even and brilliant. Yet checking for symmetry, you're checking for that clarity. And, you know, of course you want that sparkle.
Right.
It's the culmination of all that hard work.
So we've been talking about the basics here, but the guide mentions that there are all these advanced techniques.
Oh, yeah.
You had mentioned faceting.
Right.
What are some of the other things that we haven't talked about?
There are so many different types of faceting.
Okay.
You know, you have the brilliant cut, which is often used for diamonds.
Okay.
You have step cuts, which are used for things like emeralds.
Okay.
And then you have these mixed cuts, which are more complex designs.
Okay.
And then you have carving, which is where you create these really intricate designs on the surface of the gem.
Yeah.
And then you have engraving,
Okay.
which uses specialized tools to etch patterns onto the gem.
It's incredible to think that this is like a centuries old, probably millennia old
Right.
practice. I mean, people have been fascinated by gems
Yeah.
and the beauty of gems
Yeah.
for, you know, as long as we've been around.
As long as we've been around.
I'm fascinated by all the stories, you know, the historical significance of gems and what they've represented in different cultures.
Right.
I mean, the fact that you could have something like amber
Right.
that captures a snapshot of life from millions of years ago.
Right.
Just incredible.
Yeah, it is. It makes you wonder, you know?
Yeah.
If you were to design a piece of jewelry, what kind of gem would you use and why?
That's a great question to think about.
Yeah.
You know, this whole deep dive has been really eye-opening for me
Yeah.
because, you know, I look at gems and I think, oh, they're pretty.
Right.
But I don't always think about the process that goes into creating that beauty. It's not just about, you know, finding a shiny stone. There's this whole history, this science, and this artistry
It's true.
that goes into unlocking that beauty.
That's a great way to put it. It's unlocking that hidden beauty.
And there's so much more to learn.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
So we've come to the end of our deep dive today. Thanks for listening, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
All right. So are you ready? Because today we are going deep on gem cutting.
Ooh, sounds sparkly.
You mentioned wanting to learn this?
Yeah.
Maybe make it a hobby?
Uh-huh.
Or even like a total career change? Who knows?
We never know.
We found this awesome guidebook,
Oh, cool.
and it claims to have all the secrets.
All the secrets, huh? I bet you anything, though, a diamond can only be cut by another diamond.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Never knew that.
They're the hardest natural material on Earth.
That's wild. Okay, so this guy is called How to Cut Gems, a comprehensive guide.
Oh, comprehensive.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right.
Sounds like we're getting a detailed step-by-step walkthrough,
Yeah,
which is perfect for a beginner, like you.
exactly. Although there's a catch.
Oh.
Take a look at the title.
Okay.
It's cut off.
Uh-oh.
We don't know
Hmm.
if it focuses on one specific gem
Mm-hmm.
or a whole bunch of them. What do you think?
Well, that's a good point. Knowing the types of gems covered would be crucial.
Root.
Right, because each gem has its own personality, you could say.
Oh, yeah.
They have unique properties, like hardness, of course, but also something called cleavage.
Cleavage?
Yeah.
What's that? What does that even mean?
It's how a gem breaks.
Ah.
Some gems break cleanly along certain planes, while others, well, they're a lot tougher to predict.
I see.
And you definitely don't want to be surprised mid-cut, especially with something delicate like an opal.
Oh.
Opals are known for being delicate.
Right.
Absolutely. Imagine trying to cut an opal like a diamond.
Oh, no.
Disaster. You could shatter it
Well,
because of its delicate structure.
right.
Waste precious material.
Yeah, that's true.
Each gem demands its own approach, its own set of tools and techniques.
Wait, so every single gem type needs a completely different approach?
I mean, there are some similarities, sure, but mastering gem cutting is all about understanding those subtle differences. Even holding the stone, for example, requires a specific technique to maximize stability and control.
This is making gem cutting sound pretty intimidating.
Well, it does take practice
Yeah.
and patience, but that's part of the beauty of it, right?
I guess.
Imagine the satisfaction
Yeah.
of transforming a rough stone into a sparkling masterpiece. And with a comprehensive guide like this, you're off to a great start.
So we've just peeked into the workshop.
Right.
There's so much more to explore.
Absolutely.
This guidebook
Yeah.
is packed with information. I can't wait to uncover more of its secrets with you.
Well, as you continue your journey into the world of gem cutting, here's something to think about. If you could cut any gem in the world, what would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What is it about its properties and beauty that calls to you?
I don't know. I have to think about that. Thanks for listening, everybody.
And keep shining.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
And then I will just stare at it for like ever. Wow. All right, well, let's head down to the shop and I'll let you know what we're going to do next. Alrighty, so I'm down in the shop and now I'm going to get trucking on polishing a bunch of those beautiful Malawi agates that we just cut. And we have a lot to polish. So this group right here, I am definitely going to be polishing. This is going to be probably the last one that I do. It's going to take a long time because it's a bigger face. This group is some that I'd like to get to, but we'll see. There's a couple down here that are really nice that I think would be cool, but we'll just see. And then also this guy right here, I'd really like to polish, but I don't think it would go well. And I know that this is going to take me many hours to get through all those. It's probably going to take me a couple days to get through all of it. So I'm not going to have you sit through a really long process watching me go through every single piece. I'm just going to whip through it really quick. And I want to take more time afterwards and showing you each individual piece and maybe looking at some of them with a macro lens because there are some phenomenal bands. And I want to take the time with that over showing the whole polishing process. But I am going to be polishing all of them on my 8-inch Cab King with the res wheels. We're running from 220 to 280 to, 600, brain fart, 1200, 3000, and 8000. So that's the process. I'm going to run through all that. We'll see you when we're all done.